I don't talk about this often. Hell, I haven't told anyone in over 5 years, but I need to get it out before I die. Not because I want sympathy, but because someone out there needs to know what's real. Back in 2020, I was working as a wildlife surveyor up in the Navajo Nation, northern Arizona. My job was simple: hike the remote trails, document animal movements, and stay out of trouble. I'd done it for 5 years, knew the terrain, respected the land. But one day, I pushed further than I should have. I was following a strange pattern of movement I'd picked up on motion-triggered cameras. Something big, silent, fast. Not a bear, not a mountain lion. The prints were wrong. The stride was off. Anyway, I found myself deep in this ravine. Rocks the color of rust, a creek so still it looked frozen. The sun was dipping low behind the cliffs, and I should have turned back. But I saw something move at the top of the ridge. 2 legs, not 4. A tall, emaciated silhouette, hunched and twitching like a puppet with broken strings. I called out. It turned. The moment its head twisted around, something in me screamed to run, but I couldn't. My limbs went cold, locked in place. Its face was God. It was wearing a face, not its own. Human skin stretched tight. The eyes were too far apart. The mouth, too wide. It stared at me for a long time. Then it dropped to all fours and scrambled down the cliff faster than anything I've ever seen. No noise, no warning. I bolted. I don't even remember the run back to camp. I only remember slamming the cabin door, locking it, then sitting there, rifle in hand, until morning. I should have left then, but I was stubborn, stupid. I told myself I imagined it. Stress, lack of sleep. Over the next week, things got worse. At night, something would circle my cabin. I'd hear footsteps, human footsteps, slow, dragging. Sometimes I'd hear my name being called from the woods, not shouted but whispered. And the voice? It was mine, like someone had recorded me and played it back, wrong and broken. One night, I heard tapping on the window. I peeked out, and there it was. It looked exactly like me. Same face, same clothes, but its mouth hung open like the jaw had unhinged. And the eyes, they were dead, black, glassy, like a doll's. It grinned, a slow, unnatural curl of lips that revealed jagged yellow teeth, too many for a human. Then it turned and vanished into the trees. That was the last night I stayed there. I packed at dawn and started hiking out. No vehicle access that deep. I was maybe 4 miles from my truck when I smelled it. Rot, like roadkill and wet dog, and the forest went silent. No birds, no wind, just the sound of my own breathing. Then I saw it, blocking the path. It looked like me, just standing there, barefoot, smiling. I raised my rifle and shouted. It didn't move, just stared. And then, in a voice exactly like mine, it whispered, "You shouldn't have come here." I fired. I hit it, but it didn't bleed. It didn't fall. It just screeched, high-pitched, like metal on metal, and ran into the woods. I ran too, back to the truck. I drove for hours, didn't stop until I hit Flagstaff. I called my boss, told him I quit. I didn't explain why. What could I say? A monster wore my face and tried to kill me? I moved states, changed numbers, never went near Navajo land again. A year later, I got a letter. No return address, just a single photo inside. It was a picture of me, standing in front of my old cabin, except it wasn't me. I keep that photo in a locked drawer. I don't show it to anyone. Because here's the worst part, the part that still keeps me up at night, the part that made me start recording this in the first place. People have been telling me they've seen me places I've never been. Strangers smile like they know me. Coworkers ask why I ignored them at the gas station. My own sister swore she saw me in her backyard last week. But I haven't left the house in days. I check the locks every night. I keep salt by the doors. I don't respond to the voice when it calls from outside, because I know it's still out there, wearing my skin. I used to think the scariest thing you could hear in the middle of nowhere was silence. I was wrong. In silence, at least there's peace. But what I heard that night, what I saw, there's no peace in it. No explanation. Only a cold, creeping thing that still follows me, even now. Back in 2017, I was house-sitting for my uncle in a dusty, forgotten stretch of farmland near Shiprock, New Mexico. He'd gone up north for surgery, and someone needed to watch the property. I figured, sure. A week of peace, clear skies, no cell reception. Maybe I could finally finish that novel I kept pretending to write. The house was small, 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, surrounded by open land and a sea of corn, 8 feet tall and too dense to see through. The kind of isolation that makes you feel like the last man on earth. It was quiet at night, real quiet. No passing cars, no hum of streetlights, just wind and crickets. The first strange thing happened on my 3rd night. I was brushing my teeth when I heard footsteps in the hallway behind me. Slow, deliberate, bare feet on wood. But I was alone. I spat out the toothpaste and spun around. Nothing there. I checked the rooms, locked the doors, wrote it off as an old house, creaking. Happens, right? But then I started hearing them every night. Footsteps, whispers, something walking the halls, just out of sight. And the worst part was the smell, like wet fur and old blood. It came and went in waves, curling through the vents, thick and metallic, like the scent of a dying animal. On the 5th night, I saw it. I had stepped out onto the back porch for some air around 2 a.m. The moon was high, lighting the tops of the corn in silver, and that's when I saw movement. At first, I thought it was a deer, the way it glided through the stalks, too smooth for a human. But then it stood up. Tall, over 7 feet, thin as a scarecrow, long arms that hung past its knees, and skin like cracked leather stretched over bone. It didn't move like a person. It didn't look like anything I'd seen before. Its head turned slowly, and even from that distance, I saw its eyes. They glowed, not a reflection glow, pale yellow, burning like coals. I ducked back inside and locked the door. I told myself it was a dream or a hallucination. The next day, I walked the perimeter of the house, looking for prints. I found some in the soft dirt behind the barn. Bare feet, but the toes were all wrong. Too long, too wide, and clawed. I should have left then, driven off and never looked back, but stupidly, I didn't. But that night, it came closer. Around 1 a.m., I heard tapping on the bedroom window. Slow, rhythmic. I didn't move. I just lay there, pretending to be asleep. Then, I heard it call my name.
Daniel.
Except it was my mother's voice. She's been dead 6 years. I sat up, heart pounding, and heard it again. This time, from the front of the house.
Daniel, open the door.
And it wasn't just her voice. It was her. I don't know how, but it knew. It had her exact tone, her laugh, even the little hitch in her breath when she was nervous. I nearly opened the door, but something deep in my gut screamed not to. I backed away, hid in the bathroom with the light off and my back to the tub. It stood on the porch for hours. I could hear it pacing, scratching, and breathing. The next morning, I found small tufts of hair stuck in the window frame, coarse, black, reeking of rot. I called my uncle. There was silence on the line. Then he said, "You saw it, didn't you?" That's when he told me about the stories, the warnings, the rules he never mentioned because he didn't think I'd stay out past dark. Rule 1. Never go into the corn after sundown. Rule 2. Never answer if someone outside calls your name. Rule 3. If you see it, don't look at its eyes. I'd broken all 3. That night, I packed everything. I left the keys on the kitchen table and drove until the sun came up. Never looked in the rearview mirror. Never went back. But here's the thing. It must have followed me. Because sometimes in the middle of the night, I'll hear footsteps on the stairs of my apartment. I live alone. No pets, no roommates. Sometimes I'll get voicemails, just silence or soft breathing, or the sound of my mother's laugh. Once, I woke up to find muddy prints on my hardwood floor, barefoot, clawed. So now I keep salt by every window, mirrors covered, doors locked before sunset. But the worst part? Sometimes I'll catch a reflection in the window, and I see my mother just staring at me. They say if you talk about it, it finds you again. I don't know if that's true, but I'm past the point of caring. I've tried everything: church, salt, sage, therapists. But nothing's worked. So I'm going to tell this while I still remember who I am. It started last fall. I was on a camping trip with my best friend Mike, deep in the Four Corners area, just on the edge of the Navajo Nation. We weren't there to mess with anything, just wanted to hike, unplug, drink beer by a fire. The first night, everything was fine. Stars were unreal. Coyotes howled somewhere distant. Nothing unusual. But the second night, Mike woke me up around 3 a.m. He looked pale, sweating, eyes wide. He said he'd heard something moving around the tent, breathing. Not an animal, not a bear, human breathing. Slow, heavy, right outside. I listened. Nothing. We figured maybe it was wind. Maybe he had a nightmare. We both went back to sleep. The next morning we found prints. Bare feet, huge, clawed toes, circling the tent. Deep impressions in the dirt like whatever it was had weight. We left that day, packed up early. I didn't say it aloud, but something about those tracks felt wrong. Like they didn't belong in this world. We didn't talk about it on the drive home. But a few nights later, Mike called me. He sounded shaken. Said someone had knocked on his window at 2:13 a.m. Not the door, the second-floor bedroom window. When he looked, he saw a man standing in the yard, looking up at him. Only it wasn't a man. He said its skin was dry and cracked like old bark, stretched tight over bones. No clothes, no hair. Its eyes were wrong, too big, glowing faintly yellow. It didn't move. It just smiled. I told him to get out, go to his parents, go anywhere. But that was the last time I ever talked to Mike. 3 days later, they found him in his bathtub, empty bottle of sleeping pills. But I know Mike. He wouldn't have done that. Not without saying goodbye. Not like that. I went to the funeral. The entire time, I felt watched. I'd catch glimpses of something in the trees, just a shape, a tall, thin figure, always watching. That night, I heard scratching at my front door, slow, deliberate, like claws on wood. I looked through the peephole. No one. When I opened the door the next morning, there were marks, 3 long gouges, deep and fresh, across the surface, like something had dragged bone across it. Then came the voices. Sometimes, when I'd walk down the hallway, I'd hear my mother's voice calling from the kitchen. She died 2 years ago. Other times, it would be Mike's voice, laughing, crying, begging, always from just out of sight. always when I was alone. I stopped sleeping, I stopped going out. I sealed the windows, lined the walls with salt, burned sage every night. Nothing helped. Then one night, I looked into the mirror, and my reflection didn't move. I blinked. It didn't. I turned my head. It grinned. That was when I knew it wasn't outside anymore. It was in here, wearing me. Ever since then, I felt off. Like something is pressing on my thoughts. I forget things, black out for hours. My coworkers say I've been different, cold, staring too long, saying things I don't remember saying. A girl from work asked if I was okay, said she saw me at the grocery store late at night, but I didn't answer her. I just stood there, staring at her, grinning. I don't remember being there. I don't remember grinning. I found a photo on my phone, one I didn't take. It's from the woods. Me, standing beside the tent, in the dark, grinning at the camera. But my eyes, they're glowing. I sleep with the lights on now. I keep the mirror covered. I don't answer voices. And I keep this recording going every night, just in case I stop being me. Because when I pass a window at night, I see something behind me that isn't quite right. It's me, but it's not. It's taller. It's smiling. And sometimes it blinks when I don't. I never used to believe in the supernatural. Ghost stories? Fun. Skinwalkers? A myth. The kind of tales you hear whispered around a fire after a few beers. But I'm telling you now, with every nerve in my body still humming from what I saw, it's real. And it's still out there. It happened 2 years ago. I was driving through northeastern Arizona, along old Route 70. It's mostly empty desert, straight roads, no gas stations for miles. I was heading home from a job near White River late at night and running on fumes and around 1 a.m. I passed an old Navajo cemetery, the kind that's barely marked, just wooden crosses sticking out of hard red earth. That's when I saw her, standing on the side of the road, a woman, long black hair, pale skin, dressed in something that looked handmade, no shoes. Her face was turned toward the mountains, but as my headlights swept over her, she slowly turned to look at me. And I swear to God, she smiled in the most evil way imaginable. I drove right past her, heart thudding. Every instinct told me not to stop. But after a minute, guilt kicked in. What if she was hurt, confused, lost? So I turned around. But when I got back, she was gone. No sign of her, no footprints, just the wind and the dust and the uneasy twist in my gut. I kept driving, trying to shake the feeling, but a mile down the road, my radio cut out. Just static. Then, a voice, soft, whispering.
You can see me?
I turned the volume down, then off, but I could still hear it, coming from behind me. I whipped my head around, but no one was there. I slammed the brakes and jumped out, shining my flashlight all over the back seat. Empty. But when I climbed back in, the passenger door was unlocked. I didn't unlock it. I sped off. Didn't care about gas anymore. I just needed out. But the desert doesn't end, and the road just keeps going. I drove for what felt like hours, but every time I checked the mile markers, they hadn't changed. Same number, same rock formation, same roadkill on the shoulder. It was like I was trapped in a loop. And then I saw her again, standing in the middle of the road this time. I couldn't swerve, but I hit the brakes hard and came to a stop just inches from her. She didn't flinch. She leaned forward, looked directly through the windshield, and smiled again. That smile wasn't human. Too wide, too many teeth. I blinked, and she was gone. Just vanished. The air in the car was wrong. Thick, rotten, like something had crawled inside with me. I turned the key. The engine sputtered, then died. Dead, silent out there. Then came the tapping on the driver's side window. I froze. It wasn't knuckles, it was like nails. Long, tapping gently. I didn't look. Couldn't. Then a voice right next to my ear.
You can see me?
I screamed and looked. No one there. Just an empty seat and the echo of her laughter coming from the back seat. I threw the door open and ran. Didn't care where, just ran into the desert until my lungs burned. I stumbled through brush and stone until I saw headlights. A truck parked by a ranger station. I don't remember what I said. I must have looked insane, but they let me in, gave me water, called the local cops. When we went back for my truck the next morning, it was gone. No tire tracks, no oil, no signs it ever existed. But the weirdest part? The ranger said Route 70 had been closed for maintenance that night, completely barricaded. And that cemetery? He told me there's no cemetery out there. I didn't believe him until I went back alone months later. He was right. There's nothing there, just dry scrubland and silence. But I still hear her sometimes. When I drive alone late at night, I catch her face in my rearview mirror, just for a split second, smiling. I hear the soft whisper,
You can see me?
and feel the door unlock by itself. I don't drive at night anymore, and neither should you.